Welcome to How It Works, a video series from Law Sites and LawNext. You get to see hands-on demonstrations of legal tech products directly from their developers. On today's episode, a demonstration of Lexafide, an agentic and voice orchestration platform for client intake, lead qualification, call intelligence, and much more. Joining me to tell us about it and show us how it works is Terry Dohrmann, co-founder and CEO. Terry, welcome to How It Works.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate being here.
We want to get into the demo fairly quickly here, but first, why don't you kind of give us a quick overview of Lexafide, what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. We're born out of really two things. One is deep expertise in AI and building software and workflows. The other one is really domain experience in the legal market, which is more my bag, having co-founded other businesses like Litify, practice management. But we are, as you mentioned, Bob, focused on a few areas. I like to say that we're focused on the unsexy areas of running a law firm. And that really is in the details each day that the staff has to deal with, making phone calls out to adjusters, receiving phone calls from numerous people, making sure there's a direct line of communication between clients and their attorneys or their case managers. But leveraging AI for those routine tasks that can often bog down a law firm and frankly prevent growth and prevent revenue production and things like that, as well as hamper the relationships they have with their clients and their vendors and other firms that they work with. So our goal is to really just enhance all of that communication, get clean data, work from a place of intelligence, and help the staff really become much more productive.
Yeah, unsexy, but pretty critical to the functioning of a law practice.
Absolutely. Let me share just an overview of who we are. I won't kill you with PowerPoint, but I'll just give a couple slides for context. You mentioned that we are an agentic and orchestrative platform. So this just gives some color to that, really where we're focused. I think as a differentiator, we came into the market a little bit behind some of the other providers. And we weren't necessarily going to chase things like demand letter drafting and contract review and things like that. But we spent a ton of time doing integrations into telephony systems, into marketing systems, case management, and even other AI providers. Again, our philosophy is one of integration. We want to work well with these other providers. It's not necessarily one where we're going to box out every other AI provider thinking we can do it all. If I could tell you after doing this for a year, Bob, one thing is that you can't do everything excellent. You have to pick a few lanes and do them really well. And what we've done is really acting as using voice agents and our orchestration agents to understand from its inception during the intake process, what kind of case it is, what are the details in the case, capturing all the interactions, all the conversations, and then the outputs on the right side in terms of the value that we're delivering for our customers. And we've been at this for, I said, like a year. And it's one of those areas where we picked a handful of different types of clients to pilot with, and I would call it sort of our incubation period. Some of them are listed here, but these are the areas that you mentioned. And these are right now, this is the agents that we've deployed with our clients and already delivering tons of value and putting time back into the firm and making their experience for the staff and the clients that much better. But just quickly left to right, intelligent reception is really that additional layer of intelligence for a telephony system. The Ring Centrals and dial pads and Zooms of the world have solid technological bases, but they're not very good at identifying what call should go to what person. They're not very good at syncing with a case management solution, for example, to create tasks via voicemail, things like that. So that's really where we started. We wanted to solve for, as I mentioned, routine type of activities in a firm. Call intelligence is an extension of that, where many firms don't want to have an AI bot answering phones necessarily. They want to really just more empower their humans, their intake managers or case managers or receptionists. They want to empower them. So we have agents that listen to those calls and they'll transcribe, they'll create summaries. We have folks using it for training, for best practices, that kind of thing. And right now we have in beta with Arichi, one of our clients, the prompting. So during the live call, the AI will prompt a user to say, you forgot to ask about a police report or whatever it might be. So it's inline training, if you will. Lead qual is exactly what it sounds like. So lead either inbound or secondarily calling outbound to clarify items and doing things like matter completion. But we have AI bots that are doing everything from 2 or 3, what I call triage questions, just to understand what the case even might be and what it's about. and then appropriately routing it to the folks inside the firm that should handle it. Two, we have some firms that are getting much more aggressive on this and having the AI do a full-blown intake and really asking 10, 15, 20 questions. And the model itself is pretty robust and it can interact with the caller in a pretty profound way. And the last one I would mention is really this adjuster, provider, / lien holder / whatever. It's really any type of external person that you're either calling out to or calling in or you're receiving calls from, doing things like providing a case status or a next step. Or I know many times lawyers or case managers will sit on hold with an insurance agency to just be able to talk to a live person. So we have agents that will do that for them. They'll sit on hold, they'll go through an IVR system, make the appropriate entries, and then connect them live and they can actually get that person. So again, from looking across, these are very much geared towards productivity, simplicity, and eliminating some of these routine tasks that can really prevent growth. So I'll stop there for a moment. Is there anything on that, Bob, you'd like to ask? Any questions or for clarification or anything?
Just to clarify, implicit in what you're saying, I think, is that your customers have the ability to customize these elements, what they want for lead qualification, for example.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, it's a good differentiator that I didn't ask you to raise, but thank you. We're still a young company and we're learning, just like our clients are learning, but our approach is much more, let us be flexible in terms of the way we deploy our agents with that client. So we always do a 30 to 60 day pilot period in the beginning of our agreements to work with a client to understand what their workflows look like, what the uniqueness might be. And in that model, our agents actually learn over time better. But when they're set up at a foundational level the right way, it just makes the experience a lot better all around.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we dive in and see that work?
Let's jump right in here. So I have right now loaded up. It's just our home screen. This is V1. We have V2 coming out shortly, which will be have a little more functionality. But there's two things on the screen here just to point out. One is this Chrome extension. And the reason I just show this is that anything that happens in our home screen here can happen in the Chrome extension as well. Because some folks don't want to have another UI for their users. So they'll just have a Chrome extension that sits tabletop on any of the applications that they use right now, their case management, whatever they're using. They just want to use this instead as more like a prompt. In any event, this is really where we can make phone calls outbound. We can look at, quickly I'll show you, this is our workflow builder. And I'm going to just show today a personal injury intake, an example of it. This is a pre-built template that we have, but if you look into any one of these boxes, it's just all natural language prompts. Meaning once we deploy this for a client after working with them, should they want to make changes, they can actually add and delete any of these functions on their own, because we want them to have the power to work at their own pace, and any of the nuance that's with a new practice area, for example, they can do this on their own. The comm log is an important piece because this captures all the conversations that I mentioned earlier. So this would be, you have all of your texts here as well as recordings if the customer would like to keep them. And then this is accessible, and it's also, you can see on here, this is synced to Solidify this instance, but you have the ability to send this data as a summary. It'll pick up the key points. But the idea being that when you're on the phone, if the agent's operating on its own, it will actually capture all the key information, the date of incident, things like that, location, insurance providers, and it'll start auto-loading it into the case management solution. Or if it, as I mentioned, if it's a conversation with a live agent, the same thing will happen. We can transcribe that and get that data into the source of truth, if you will. These are just some integrations that we have pre-built. And then the settings, I'll bring this up just to show that I think we're going to do, I'll show you a personal injury intake, but there's also, if you wanted to change what this agent was actually doing, we could just make those changes right here. But I will just show you that. And let me...
So it's doing in terms of who's calling in or who it's interacting with.
Exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah. And Bob, just to show you just an example of what the voice sounds like and the type of responses we can have, I'll just dial in and then quickly move through an inbound call, an outbound call, I'll show some of the call intelligence pieces, and then some of what we're capturing, how we're syncing with case management, things like that. But just dialing into the system.
Thank you for calling CNL.
Recognizing my call coming in.
Hi, voice assistant. Make sure I connect you with the right person on our team. I just need to grab a few pieces of information from you. Transfer you to the person that can help you. Can I start by getting your full name and a good phone number?
Hi, it's Terry Dohrmann, 917-576-9788. So the system is capturing this information. If I
Hi,
was
Terry,
a known
thanks for
caller,
calling. It looks like you might be a new client. To help me understand
recognize
how
me
we
as a
can
new
best
client.
assist you, could you tell me a bit about why you're calling today? Are you calling about a personal injury, an employment issue, or an injury that occurred at work?
I'm calling about a personal injury. I'm going to hang that up because it'll go through the questionnaire that's been loaded into the system to see
Okay.
and then you can see here, this overview is quickly provided. There's not much here just because I hung
Right.
up, but it would provide a summary of that call. And then it gives me the ability to, if I wanted to edit this for whatever reason, edit this, I can save these changes, and then I can actually take this and I can log it into, in this case, this is Litify. This is synced with Litify, but really whatever case management the folks are working with.
Right.
Show this, and I'm going to share this tab. This is the instance of Litify that we're working with, and this is the intake, the Terry personal injury intake that was just created. I didn't provide any data, but if there were where the incident occurred, locations, insurance provider, it would capture all that and it would show that here. Conversely, if I wanted to call out to someone from here, I could do that. And I'm just pulling myself and request updated medical treatment info. And one thing to know, it's going to ask me to proceed or not. So it's processing this, and it'll always ask me as a human in the loop feature, should we proceed with this actual event? So I just asked it to dial outbound, and now it's calling my phone.
Hi, Terry. This is Alexis from Richmond Bona Personal Injury Lawyers. I just need to confirm a few details. It'll only take a minute. Is that all right?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm calling to request updated information regarding your medical treatment. Have there been any recent developments or changes in your treatment plan that you could share with us?
Yes, I'm now being treated twice a week at St. Rose's Hospital. I'm going to hang up. It's going to capture that information, but just to give an example of, all I asked it to do was just to call out to get medical info, and the agent knows inherently how to ask the question in an intelligent way so the client knows what we're asking for. But there's a lot of intuitive things we built into the system to make it easier on that front. One other thing, just as I'm mentioning this is a conversation that occurred, and I want to create an intelligence report out of this. One of the actions I can do is, let's do an intelligence report. This is whatever, it was a big motorcycle accident. I generate the report. This takes about 30 seconds. For the sake of time, I'll just show you the report itself. But this is the report that will be generated, and it shows things like the quality of the call itself, what were the strengths and the gaps in the case itself, how did the actual agent perform, was there anything missing, did they not ask good questions? So managers are using this to help train their folks in the best way to capture information, make a client feel comfortable. So all these assessment items are here. And then we obviously keep a record of this over time so we can really identify what are the best results coming from phone calls and the way that they're handled. So this has become a very popular feature because, like I mentioned, folks, they want to empower their people. They don't necessarily replace the human element of their firm, but they want to make sure that they have the ability to give the best type of response and the best type of treatment each and every time.
Was the product of that to then revise the script and go back and further develop it in that sense?
Yeah. So what we can do is, if we get an understanding, and when we do this during the pilot period, we get an understanding from the client, what exactly is a best optimal outcome in each one of these scenarios? What is the best types of responses? We get that initially, but then even over time, we can start seeing the results of these calls. Well, was it a good case? How quickly did it actually sit on desk? Was it not there for a long time? Was it efficient? So we'll start capturing those data points, and then we can refer back to the original calls and things like this and know that this is the best way to handle some of these situations. Mm-hmm. One other quick item I'd show is this is from our intelligent reception reports. It may look unsexy, but what we're driving at here is the agents themselves doing the call handling on the front end, being integrated with, like I said, Ring Central or Dialpad or Five9s or whomever. It's managing these calls, and it's the hours the agents are actually working. If they're triaging, asking a few questions, if they're routing these calls, this report just shows who's actually fielding these calls, and give you a good sense of, from a staff perspective, who are the folks that are doing it the right way and then who needs the right kind of training. I just clicked on a mock inbound call. This is a prototype. But let's say I'm having that conversation and I want to ask about their name, their address, the party type, etc. And if I want to create a party, again, in Litify in this instance, I would do that. And then the party record's created and it can actually capture the key data for that specific call. Believe it or not, this reception piece is one of the items that has been super popular for us so far, just because these firms get volume of calling that traditionally the only response has been to just hire more receptionists. Right. Or if they do have a phone system, they're constantly trying to jigger with it to make it so folks are not sitting on hold. They have an outsourced call center that they'll use in nights and weekends, things like that. But what we're doing is saying, if a firm is already willing to outsource it to a call center, outsource it to an AI agent that's going to represent your firm in a better way. And it's actually going to get the client answers, going to get connected to the right people within your firm more directly. It's going to eliminate a lot of what traditionally has been frustration for clients. And the same exact concept with the adjusters, providers, lien holders, things like that. When they're just looking to get a status on a case or looking to understand if cash has been distributed. Again, these are very simple workflows, but folks are comfortable with AI agents actually handling those for them.
Yeah. No, I believe that's popular. This is one of those great unaddressed pain points within law firms, I think, that technology hasn't really tackled so far. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So the things on our roadmap are more very routine items that tend to take time away from the firm itself. But as we start going further down the line, it's, okay, can we start understanding case valuation items when those first data points are hit? Can we give a sense of, can we get direction on how valuable this case might be? So we're starting to roll those types of features out. We have a marketing agent that we are just about to release as well. And a marketing agent would be, regardless of the property that an interested party comes in on, be it a website, be it a phone call, be it a web form, we can actually take it, do an analysis on it, and see who's the best person to handle this, what is the best response for this type of request. And again, connecting those people and giving them the right types of materials and responses for that client.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to show us today?
No, I think that's it for now.
All right. I should point out to anybody watching this video that Terry and I also separately recorded a much longer version of this demonstration. And if you really want to dive in and see more details about all of this, we'll put the link to that in the description for this show. Otherwise, Terry, thanks so much for being with me today and showing us all about Lexafide.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate the time. I appreciate what you do.
That's it for this episode of How It Works. You can find the full series on YouTube. Just search for How It Works, or we're also on the LawNext Legal Tech directory. Just go to directory.lawnext.com. This is Bob Ambrogi. Thanks for being with us today.